I've traveled through time, reincarnated as an unloved illegitimate daughter. Meanwhile, my brother who came through with me has become the legitimate heir, a dashing, high and mighty young master. The day I recognized my brother, I'd just been pushed into the lotus pond by my jealous half-sister. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful stories every day. Now, the story begins. As I hit the water, I instinctively cursed, "Holy shit." It just so happened that my brother heard it, his face full of shock. He personally hauled me out of the water. "What did you just say?" he asked, crouching before me with nervous urgency. Did I say anything? I pretended not to know. Woo-woo. I was so scared just now, I didn't say anything at all. My stepsister definitely didn't push me on purpose. I lowered my head, my voice choked with sobs, in my heart. I thought this was exactly how green tea bitches in novels behaved, said to stir men's protective instincts. Just as I was performing this emotional scene, my stepsister's shriek came from behind. "You bitch, I did push you on purpose, and I'll beat you to death." Seeing how I'd indirectly complained to our elder brother, she flew into a rage and started spewing whatever came to mind. As she spoke, she raised her hand and was about to strike me. "Get lost." My brother suddenly turned his head and glared at his stepsister, roaring angrily. The furious roar carried an intimidating pressure, startling the stepsister into freezing on the spot. Then, with a pout, she lowered her hand, stamped her feet resentfully, and walked away sulkily. After all, he is the heir apparent, truly formidable. I sighed inwardly, wondering what was wrong with this elder brother. In the original host's memories, this brother had always been aloof and indifferent toward her. "Speak quickly." He turned to look at me. I widened my eyes, trying to appear pitiful and wronged, and tentatively uttered those two words. Holy crap. His eyes instantly reddened upon hearing this. And so, we recognized each other. He had initially thought I was just another time traveler like himself, but as our conversation deepened, he discovered to his astonishment that I was actually his biological younger sister who had depended on him for survival in the modern era. That day, he pulled me into a tight embrace and wept for a long time. After calming down, my brother said, "Ever since coming here, I've had the same dream every night. I dreamt that 3 years later, the dynasty would be overthrown, and I'd be cannon fodder, chopped 28 times before slowly bleeding to death. I've sent people to investigate. The people and events in the dream all exist in reality." He firmly believed the dream was real. What about me? I tugged at his sleeve and pointed at myself. My brother hesitated for a moment, scratching his head. "You're too much of a background character. You didn't appear in my dream." But in the end, the women of the Jiang family either became servants or fell into prostitution. My brother sighed and added, "I'm just cannon fodder, truly pitiful and wretched, filled with frustration." I thought, we both time traveled, so why is there such a huge difference? He's a noble heir, while I'm just an extra not even worthy of appearing in dreams. Heavens, you're truly unfair. But there's a way that could let us not only survive, but thrive. He suddenly lowered his voice. In my dream, the new emperor was just a 5-year-old child, with a regent behind him. This regent was the true wielder of power, and he had a younger sister who went missing in childhood. She was the treasure of his heart. My brother spoke, swallowing hard. "Hurry up and tell me." I was frantic with impatience. This concerned our future happiness. Yet my brother remained as unhurried in speech as ever. "I've had people investigate recently. This regent hasn't yet entered court service. They say he's a martial arts master, living in seclusion at Clawfang Mountain, Ranran. Big brother wants you to win over this future regent. If you can secure him, 3 years from now we'll survive because of this connection. He'll surely protect us." My brother looked at me with utmost seriousness. Me, I stared at him. "Brother, are you serious? Me, win over a transcendent master, the future regent? My dear brother, you're giving me way too much credit." Big brother chuckled and ruffled my hair. Ran, you're not just clever and quick-witted, your face alone." He pinched my cheek. "The original host was a famous beauty, and with your D-list acting skills, you'll definitely pull it off." "No way, absolutely not, brother. You'd better think of another plan. From what I've found out, this regent is pitilessly handsome, definitely more attractive than all the celebrities you've ever chased." "All right, I'll go. I immediately stood at attention. For the sake of our survival in this dynasty, I'm willing to sacrifice my dignity. I'd run into walls for a handsome man. What about you, brother? You're not thinking of reaping the benefits without lifting a finger, are you? I asked curiously, gazing at him. Am I that kind of person? I'll go find his sister, 2 birds with 1 stone. Suddenly puffing out his chest, he declared, when brother and sister work together, no gold is too hard to break. Watching my brother, his eyes gleaming with determination, for the first time, I felt my own brother was a master at PUA. It's such a waste of talent that he's not running a pyramid scheme. The next day, he dropped me off at the foot of Claw Mountain, saying, Ran, the early bird catches the worm. Looking at the deep frown lines between his eyebrows forming the character, I seriously doubted he had any faith in my abilities. In my past life, I was at least an 18-tier actress. My acting skills were pretty decent. You know, my brother gave me a lot more instructions before finally leaving. Turning back to look at me every few steps, I wandered around Claw Mountain for most of the day until my calves were trembling with exhaustion and my stomach was growling. I didn't even see a ghostly shadow, let alone any sign of shelter. As the sky grew darker, I began to feel a creeping sense of unease. Why am I doing this to myself, foolishly believing my brother's big talk? I, a delicate young woman, impulsively ventured into these deep mountains in a moment of madness. As I was cursing at the towering ancient trees, a clear male voice suddenly came from behind. Miss, why are you here all alone? The moment I turned around, I nearly bit off my tongue. The youth before me stood clad in black robes, silhouetted against the sunset like a swordsman straight out of a storybook. His posture was ramrod straight, radiating youthful vitality. Even game character models couldn't compare to his striking appearance. A dashing young man in splendid attire. Professional instincts kicked in instantly. My eyes reddened as my voice choked with emotion. My elder brother is gravely ill. The physician said only a particular medicinal herb from these mountains could serve as the catalyst for any hope of recovery. Determined to save him, I ventured into these mountains alone to search. But, they're so vast. I wandered until I lost my way. She even managed to squeeze out 2 tears while speaking, catching a glimpse of the young man frowning from the corner of her eye. Miss, have you found this medicine? Not yet. It's all my fault for being so useless. I deliberately lowered my voice, bowing my head and wiping my tears with my sleeve. My family might have some, he said with a cupped hand salute. I am Pei Kai, living in these mountains. Your home, in these mountains. Could he possibly be that future regent? Seeing my hesitation, he seemed afraid I might mistake him for a villain and quickly explained. Don't worry, miss, I'm Pei Kai from the General's Manor. My master lives in these mountains. I was just returning today when I happened to meet you. Pei Kai, that name sounds vaguely familiar. Seeing my silence, he swiftly produced a token and held it before my eyes, prominently engraved with the character Pei. It came back to me, Pei Kai, young General Pei, the second legitimate son of General Zhenyuan. This young general was indeed straightforward and sincere, truth be told. I wasn't afraid at all. I had plenty of self-defense items prepared by my elder brother tucked on me. Besides, this body of mine has some martial skills. In my memories, the Jiang family was also a military lineage. The original owner, unloved by both parents since childhood, often thought that if she could gallop across battlefields like a man, she might win their affection. So she secretly practiced martial arts all along. Seeing the sincerity in Pei Kai's eyes, I quickly softened my voice. So it's young General Pei. I was rude earlier. Please forgive me, General. No harm done. Being wary of strangers is only natural. Miss, you see the sky is growing dark. Why don't you come back to the mountain villa with me to rest for the night? Tomorrow you can descend the mountain, and I'll take the opportunity to ask my senior brother if he has the medicinal herbs you need. I pretended to ponder for a moment before nodding gratefully. Along the way, I told him about my identity, and the simple young general answered every curious question in my heart. As it turned out, his master was none other than the regent I'd been longing to find, Xianan Cheng. He had a senior brother who was highly skilled in medicine. There was also a junior brother, the son of the wealthiest family. TSK. No wonder he could become the regent in the future. Just look at these 3 disciples, each outstanding and of extraordinary status. I grew even more curious. What kind of person was this Xian Cheng? Following Pei Kai to the mountain villa, my eyes widened in amazement. The villa was nestled in a serene spot, surrounded by lush greenery. It was practically a paradise on earth. Entering the mountain villa, the interior was simply yet elegantly arranged, exuding an air of sophistication everywhere, clearly reflecting the refined taste of its owner. Pei Kai led me to a guest room and said politely, "Miss Jiang, please rest here for a while, I'll go fetch my senior brother." Before long, Pei Kai returned with a man dressed in a blue robe, a true gentleman, gentle and refined as jade. This was my first impression upon seeing Yun Mo. "Miss Jiang, this is my senior brother, Yun Mo." Yun Mo gave a slight nod. "Miss Jiang, I heard you're searching for a medicinal herb. Do you know its name?" Yun Mo is simply too handsome, currently ranking first in my heart. "Miss Jiang, what, Miss Jiang? Do you know the name of this herb?" Yun Mo's voice was cool and detached. I quickly searched my memory. Dendrobium officinal. For a while, Dendrobium officinal seemed to be all the rage. In this dynasty, it probably isn't common. Not sure if I can bluff my way through this. Yun Mo thought for a moment. Dendrobium officinal. There's none on this mountain. Perfect. Tears instantly streamed down my face. Brother, what should I do? What should I do?" As I spoke, I stood up and bowed. "Thank you both. I must return now. I need to find a way to save my brother." They all claim to be method actors, but even I admire my own acting skills. Pei Kai quickly stopped me, saying, "Miss Jiang, it's already dark. Traveling the mountain paths is dangerous. You should wait until tomorrow to descend." Then he turned to Yun Mo again. "Senior brother, does master have any? I'll go ask." Having said this, Yun Mo turned and left. "Miss Jiang, don't worry, take some rest first. Even if master doesn't have it, he'll surely find a way." Pei Kai looked at the tears at the corner of my eyes, appearing somewhat at a loss. He grew up in military camps since childhood and had never encountered such a delicate and fragile young lady before. "Thank you, young general," I curtsied gracefully with respect. This young general is actually quite nice. Watching his retreating figure, I secretly gave a victory sign behind his back. First step. Successfully infiltrated the target stronghold. At night, I lay in bed, tossing and turning, unable to sleep. Just what kind of person is this Xian Cheng anyway? With disciples this formidable, can I really take him down? For the first time, I began to doubt my own charm. The next day, I got up early, got ready, and headed out. Just as I stepped out of the guest room, I saw Pei Kai and Yun Mo. Pei Kai smiled when he saw me. "Miss Jiang, you're up. The herbs you need happen to be available with our master. Since I'm faster on foot, I'll deliver them to your residence right away." "No need." My heart panicked. This wouldn't do at all. My brother is full of life and energy. If you escort me, wouldn't the whole act be exposed? There's no need to trouble General Pei. I'd feel more at ease returning personally. Your great kindness is unforgettable, and once I deliver the herbs, I will surely visit again to express my gratitude. "Miss Jiang, there's no need to stand on ceremony with him. The master requests your presence." Yun Mo interjected from the side. "What should I do? What should I do?" My heart immediately panicked. What should I do now? I forced myself to stay calm and quickly spoke. "Then I must trouble you, General Pei. Please wait a moment while I fetch a token to give you, to avoid any complications." "All right, I'll wait right here for you, Miss Jiang." I returned to the guest room and hastily searched for brush and ink. I hope my brother, whose English is terrible, can see this in time. Pei Kai took the sachet and went down the mountain. Yun Mo and I walked side by side, heading toward the main house, preoccupied with my thoughts. Even being next to a handsome guy couldn't lift my spirits. Lowering my head, I suddenly heard faint footsteps. Looking up, I saw an extraordinarily elegant man approaching, backlit. He wore moon-white robes, like an exiled immortal descending from the clouds. This was only the first. Throughout all ages and across all lands, undoubtedly number one. I stared straight at him, his gaze fixed upon me as well. Yun Mo bowed respectfully with hands clasped. "Master." So this celestial-like figure was none other than the regent Prince Xian Cheng. My heart pounded wildly. nerves overwhelming me as I hastily followed with a bow. "Thank you, Master, for the medicine." Xian Ancheng's lips curved into a faint smile as he slightly raised his eyebrows. "No need for formalities. Old Prince Jiang has shown me kindness before. Consider this repayment of that debt. Though, I must ask, what does this master title mean?" "Miss Jiang, master." Oh no, my heart tightened with alarm. Just now, in my nervousness, I ended up shouting master along with them. My mind raced, and I simply dropped to my knees with a thud. "My name is Jiang Iran. Please take me as your disciple," I pleaded, with my forehead pressed against the ground. I felt an indescribable emotion welling up inside me. This man, his presence was overwhelmingly powerful. The air fell silent for a moment before he unexpectedly nodded slowly and said, "All right, Yunmo, take your junior sister downstairs and arrange a room for her." Even as Yunmo led me out the door, I was still pinching my thigh. Was that it? This was the cold and ruthless regent my brother had spoken of. So easy to talk to. Lying in bed at night, I tossed and turned, unable to sleep. Thinking of Xian Ancheng's deep, profound eyes made my heart race inexplicably. No, Jiang Iran, snap out of it. This is a mission. Ku tilde. A gurgling sound came from my stomach. Suddenly, inspiration struck me. An idea flashed through my mind. As the saying goes, the best way to a man's heart is through his stomach. Early the next morning, I immediately sought out senior brother Yunmo. With my acting skills so convincing they could pass for real, I put on a humble and eager-to-learn demeanor and managed to extract information from my senior brother about our master's and fellow disciples' preferences. I entered the kitchen full of confidence, only to be sorely disappointed. In this ancient era, the variety of seasonings was pitifully limited. All those dishes I'd learned from live streamers on Douyin were simply impossible to recreate under these conditions. Alas, just then, senior brother Yunmo hurried in and said, "Junior sister, we've just received a message from junior brother Pei. The medicine has been delivered safely, so you needn't worry." I felt relieved. My brother was just as clever as I was. Junior brother Pei's family encountered an emergency. Master ordered me to make a trip down the mountain. "Is senior brother Pei all right?" I asked anxiously. "Don't worry, he's fine." "What about me? Did master say anything? What are the arrangements for me?" "The master said it's entirely up to you, junior sister. You can first descend the mountain and return home, then come back later to continue your training, or I can relay the message to your family on your behalf." Hearing this, I began making calculations in my heart. With both senior brothers absent, this meant apart from a few servants, only the master and I remained on the mountain. What a heaven-sent opportunity this is. Then I'll trouble senior brother Yunmo to deliver a letter to my elder brother for me. To ensure nothing would go wrong, I deliberately wrote 2 copies of the letter, one in Chinese characters and one in pinyin. After senior brother Yunmo left, I stared at the ingredients available in the kitchen and pondered for quite a while. Porridge is perhaps the simplest dish, requiring no special seasonings. I've chosen leafy greens and cured meat as toppings. The subtle fragrance of rice blends perfectly with the savory saltiness of the cured meat, all accentuated by fresh, vibrant green vegetables. The dish is a feast for the eyes, nose, and palate. If I like it, perhaps he will too. Standing before Xian Ancheng once more, my heart fluttered with unease, and my hands trembled slightly as I held the bowl of porridge. "Master, this porridge was made by your disciple's own hands. I hope it pleases you." I tried my best to keep my tone steady, but the faint tremor at the end still betrayed the panic in my heart. Xian Ancheng's deep gaze was like a dark pool, resting quietly on me as if trying to see right through me. His thin lips parted slightly, his voice low yet piercing. "Are you afraid of me? Afraid of him?" "Maybe a little." The person before me held my life and death in his hands. How could I not fear such a man? "Master misunderstands. I merely revere you." I tilted my head slightly upward, striving to fill my eyes with nothing but sincerity. Yet, my heart was tangled like a mess of threads, secretly wondering what kind of woman could such a godlike figure possibly favor. Someone gentle, or perhaps adorable, or maybe bold and heroic, or else utterly enchanting. So difficult. I've only ever played cannon fodder, obscure supporting roles, the kind of characters who never make it to the grand finale. Now, facing someone who's practically the male lead, I'm genuinely intimidated. Put it here. His tone remained as calm as ever. I hurried over and carefully placed the bowl of porridge on the table before him. Since you've become my disciple, what is it you wish to learn? Ah, I gasped softly without thinking. Images flashed through my mind like a revolving lantern, those heroic figures I'd seen in martial arts dramas, living freely with their grievances and loyalties, roaming the rivers and lakes with effortless grace. A surge of longing rose in my heart. This disciple wishes to master supreme martial arts, hoping one day to travel the world with sword in hand, upholding justice and righteousness. If 3 years later, the Jiang family falls into decline, and I've mastered formidable martial arts to roam the rivers and lakes with my brother, perhaps that could be a way out. Fine, but the path of martial arts training is far more arduous and bitter than you can imagine. His words carried a faint hint of something. My heart involuntarily pounded wildly. Did he agree to my request so easily? Moreover, his gentle tone was completely different from the stern image I had envisioned in my mind. I steadied myself and replied earnestly, "Master, I'm not afraid of hardship, no pain, no gain. I will live up to your expectations. Then starting tomorrow, you'll come here." "Yes, Master." My heart pounded with both nervousness and anticipation. When we're alone together, isn't it just like a lonely man and woman? Dry wood meeting fierce fire. One spark and we'd ignite. In the days that followed, I fully demonstrated the self-cultivation of an 18th-tier actress. I would meticulously prepare exquisite pastries, constantly innovating with new varieties, all just to win a hint of his favor. I would personally pick flowers from the courtyard and arrange them in his room, filling the space with their delicate fragrance. When speaking with him, I would always tilt my head slightly upward, my gaze carrying just the right amount of admiration and shyness, responding to his every word in the softest, most melodious voice. I often pretended my movements weren't quite right, using it as an excuse for his guidance, savoring the closeness of our breaths. To create more moments alone with him, I would feign needing his scholarly advice, deliberately leaning closer so he might catch the faint fragrance lingering about me. At such moments, my cheeks would grow warm, yet I maintained an air of composure. I would deliberately or unintentionally showcase some of my little talents in front of him, singing a short tune or reciting a few lines of poetry. Occasionally, I could detect a glimmer of admiration in his gaze. With a faint sigh, as if burdened with countless worries, I would gaze at him with pitiful eyes when he inquired, pouring out fabricated concerns about the future. When we went out together, I would pretend to casually move closer to him, letting my arm brush lightly against his, savoring that faint, elusive warmth, and every time he looked at me, I would quickly lower my head, my cheeks flushed like a maiden experiencing her first flutter of love. Once, when heavy rain fell in the mountains, I didn't hesitate to brave the downpour. Grabbing an oil paper umbrella and clutching a thick cloak, I hurried over. When I appeared before him, drenched and disheveled, I saw surprise and a hint of tenderness in his eyes. With trembling hands, I draped the cloak over him, my voice tinged with grievance. "Master, I feared you might catch cold." He gently brushed the wet hair from my forehead. "Why do you care so little for yourself?" Seeing the concern in his eyes, in that moment, I felt as if I had truly become someone unique in his heart. Yet, in this continuous process of pleasing and enticing, I gradually noticed subtle changes emerging from the depths of my heart. Every smile of his, every caring word, slowly seeped into the softest corners of my heart. I began to look forward to every meeting with him, and my heartstrings would be pulled by his joys and sorrows. Late at night when all is quiet, I lie in bed with his face constantly appearing in my mind, feeling both joy and conflict in my heart, joyful because success seems increasingly within reach, yet conflicted about whether these feelings are genuine or merely driven by duty. But no matter what, I know I'm already deeply entangled, because I was the first to develop real feelings. Third senior brother suddenly received a letter from home, saying that Zhu Zichen had gone missing in Lincheng, pleading for master's assistance. Coincidentally, eldest senior brother had gone to the borderlands with second senior brother, leaving no one available to help. After careful consideration, master had no choice but to take me along to Lincheng. Given the urgency of the matter, we rode horses to reach Lincheng as quickly as possible. I had only recently learned to ride a horse, and my skills were still unrefined, so I proceeded with great caution along the way. It was already autumn, and the leaves on the trees had begun to turn yellow. The chilly autumn wind rustled, making the fallen leaves whisper underfoot. Horseback riding was anything but comfortable. The constant jolting of the horse's back, combined with the urgency of our journey, left my buttocks and thighs aching terribly. As we neared Lincheng, my horse suddenly spooked. With a long whinny, it bolted, carrying me away in a frantic gallop. In my panic, I tightly gripped the reins, trying to stop the horse, but couldn't regain control. All I could hear was the howling wind. I felt certain I was going to die. Xianancheng came charging like a gust of wind, agile and swift. He leaped high and landed steadily on my horse's back. Then, with a long reach of his arm, he pulled me tightly into his embrace. With steady, powerful hands, he took hold of the reins and skillfully applied pressure. Gradually, the runaway horse was subdued and came to a gentle halt. My heart was still pounding with fear, my body trembling uncontrollably. "Are you hurt?" I turned and threw myself into his arms, tears streaming down my face. "Master," I was so scared, pitiful and fragile. It awakens a man's instinct to protect a woman. I nestled tightly in his embrace, feeling the warmth and solidity of his chest, breathing in his unique scent as my heart pounded wildly. Due to this accident, what was originally two people riding two horses became two people sharing one horse. "Master, what should I do? Do you have me in your heart?" Preoccupied with my thoughts, I remained silent the entire journey. We traveled non-stop and finally reached Lincheng. The Zhu family had long since sent someone to wait for us at the city gates. Before long, we arrived at the Zhu family's residence in Lincheng. Third senior brother's elder brother and sister-in-law stood waiting at the entrance with reverent expressions. As we approached, elder brother Zhu hurried forward, bowed deeply, and said, "Master, you've finally come." Once inside, elder brother Zhu knelt with a thud. "Master, I beg you to save Zichen. What exactly happened?" The master's tone remained somewhat stern, his heavy gaze fixed firmly on brother Zhu. "Our Zhu family operates numerous businesses in Lincheng, among which the Xiyang Pavilion is the largest cosmetics shop in the city, enjoying a solid reputation all along. But some time ago, disaster struck suddenly. Xiyang Pavilion caught fire and was completely burned to ashes overnight. At first, we thought it might just be an accident, and that after repairs and renovations, we could reopen for business. However, who could have anticipated that ever since the night of the fire, Xiyang Pavilion has been haunted daily. There was even a worker who was scared to death in broad daylight while working." Brother Zhu paused, let out a slight sigh, and continued, "Within just a few days, rumors spread like wildfire through Lincheng. They said a young lady from a respectable family had her face completely ruined after using rouge from the Xiyang Pavilion. When her fiancé's family found out, they heartlessly called off the engagement. From that day on, the young lady wept day and night, too ashamed to show her face, even afraid to step outside. In the end, she set fire to herself and perished, but her resentment lingered, transforming her into a vengeful spirit that sought revenge on Xiyang Pavilion. When Zichen heard of this, he came to Lincheng to investigate the truth. Who could have guessed that once he arrived, he would vanish without a trace? After his elder sister-in-law and I received the news, we rushed to Lincheng in a panic. We searched desperately for days but found nothing. Left with no other choice, we hurriedly sent for you. "Sir, Zichen often spoke of you, saying there's nothing you can't do. We beg you, please help us." As soon as the words were spoken, brother Zhu and sister-in-law Zhu both knelt down, their eyes filled with pleading. Seeing this, the master slightly raised his hand. "Get up. He's my disciple. If something happens, I won't stand by and do nothing." Though his voice remained calm, I could see the worry for third brother in the slight furrow of his brow. "Aran, you go rest first. I'll head to Xian Pavilion to check," the master said, turning to me. "I want to go too. Be good. The journey will take several days, and you've had quite a scare today. Get some proper rest." As he spoke, my master somehow produced a small porcelain bottle in his hand and tossed it gently toward me. "This ointment works wonders for scrapes and reducing swelling. With those words, my master turned and strode away. Seeing this, Brother Ju hurried to catch up, calling back over his shoulder for sister-in-law Ju to take good care of me as he went. I followed Sister Ju to the room arranged for me. Sitting at the table, I clutched the ointment tightly in my hand, my heart unable to calm down. Master actually cares for me so much, and is so thoughtful. He even considered my discomfort from riding horses. Could it be that Master actually harbors feelings for me? If I confess my feelings first, would he accept me? Truth be told, after all these days spent together morning and night, according to what elder brother said, perhaps I've already won him over. If the dynasty truly changes 3 years later, given Master's affection for me during this time, I believe he would surely protect me. But now, I'm unwilling to settle for just this kind of relationship. I want to rise to power. I want all my senior brothers to call me madam. The sky gradually darkened. After dinner, the master still hadn't returned. I sat in the room, feeling as if sitting on pins and needles. Could Master have also met with misfortune? No, no. No, he's the future regent, peerless in martial arts, courageous and resourceful. How could anything happen to him? But what if he's injured, unable to bear the torment in my heart any longer? I rose and went to the door, standing there like a stone statue gazing wistfully outside. The ancient night sky was deep and clear, with stars twinkling brilliantly. The lanterns under the eaves swayed gently in the wind, casting flickering shadows. I paced back and forth at the doorway, my mind restless and uneasy. Suddenly, a sound came through, my heart tightened, and I quickly ran out. I saw Master and Brother Ju slowly supporting someone as they walked. I rushed forward anxiously and asked, "What happened?" "Zichen is injured and inhaled a lot of smoke. He's still unconscious now, but the doctor has already given him medicine, so there's no immediate danger to his life," Brother Ju hastily replied. At this moment, the servants of the Ju family hurried over as well. Everyone worked together to help third senior brother back to his room. After they left, I silently followed Master back to the guest room. "Master, you must be tired today. Rest early," I said softly, then turned to leave for my own room. I couldn't help feeling a little wronged after all my worry for him. He hadn't said a single word to me since returning. "Why are your eyes red?" Master's voice sounded softly. "It's nothing. I'm just a little worried about you and third senior brother," I said. Lowering my head slightly, Master gazed at me quietly, making me instinctively want to avoid his eyes. Just as I was about to speak, I heard him sigh faintly. "Aaron, don't worry, your master knows his limits." I nodded, not daring to say more, and hurriedly turned back to my room. Lying in bed, I found it hard to fall asleep. This feeling grew wildly in my heart. I feared that speaking it aloud would shatter the existing balance, yet burying it deep within felt unbearable. Early the next morning, I rose and carefully applied my makeup. When I arrived at the courtyard, I found my master practicing martial arts in the yard. I stood quietly to the side, watching his figure, my heart growing even fonder. When my master finished his practice, he turned and saw me, slightly taken aback. "You're up so early today." Taking a deep breath, I stepped forward and stammered, "Master, I..." Before I could speak, my heart leaped into my throat. Master raised an eyebrow slightly, a flicker of confusion passing through his eyes. Gritting my teeth, I mustered my courage. "Master, let's go see third brother. And then, I'd like to stroll around Lincheng." When we entered the city, I noticed the streets were bustling with activity. With that, she lowered her head, inwardly cursing herself for being so useless. Third senior brother was still unconscious. Master said that although third senior brother had inhaled poisonous fumes and had resisted with his inner strength while taking antidote pills, some residual toxins remained in his body. It would still take 2 or 3 days before he woke up. After leaving third senior brother's room, I begged Master to accompany me for a stroll around Lincheng. Everything seemed novel to me, but the food exuding tantalizing aromas made my mouth water the most. Before I knew it, it was already lunchtime. I was eagerly looking forward to finding the best restaurant in town when I happened to run into Brother Ju. He enthusiastically led us to Rui Tower. "Sir, Miss Oran, this Rui Tower is a golden signboard of our Lincheng. Their roasted squab in particular is renowned far and wide, truly unparalleled." Today is the perfect opportunity for you both to savor it and experience the unique flavors of lincheng. As soon as he sat down, Brother Ju solemnly took something from his bosom and slowly handed it to the master, saying respectfully, "Sir, this is what we found as per your previous instructions." I was so curious, my eyes fixed intently on that thing, but when the steaming, fragrant roasted squab was served on the table, the tantalizing aroma of roasted squab wafted straight into my nostrils, instantly captivating me. I picked one up and took a bite, hearing a crisp crack as the golden, flaky crust shattered, releasing a burst of rich oil. While the tender, fragrant meat melted in my mouth, I tore off a leg and placed it in my master's bowl. "Master, you should try it too, it's delicious." I ate with reckless abandon, my face and hands gleaming with grease. Just as I was happily gnawing away, the sound of light footsteps approached from a distance. I instinctively looked up to see a beautiful young woman dressed in an exquisite brocade gown enter. Behind her followed a maidservant with delicate features. The moment the beautiful girl stepped inside, her gaze fixed directly on my master, her eyes instantly lighting up with undisguised admiration and awe. Seeing her expression, a surge of displeasure welled up within me. Seeing this, Brother Ju quickly stood up, his face breaking into a polite smile as he cupped his hands in greeting. "Miss Lee, what a coincidence to meet you here today." Only then did Miss Lee reluctantly tear her gaze away, giving a slight curtsy. "Forgive my intrusion. I noticed Brother Ju had entered and thought to come greet you." Having said this, her eyes turned to Xianan Cheng, filled with curiosity and inquiry. "And who might this be?" "Allow me to introduce. This is my younger brother's tutor," Brother Ju explained. "Greetings, sir." Before Brother Ju could finish his introduction, Miss Lee couldn't contain her eagerness. She took a few steps forward, slightly tilting her head up with a faint blush on her cheeks. "I'm Li Shu, the only daughter of the Lin City prefect. May I ask your name?" I rolled my eyes at her. Was this woman trying to steal my man, Pa? Flaunting her status as the prefect's only daughter, so lacking in modesty. Finished eating, my master acted as if he hadn't heard Miss Lee's words, turning to ask me calmly instead. I quickly tossed aside the bone in my hand, wiping my mouth and hands. "Finished eating? Then let's go," my master said, rising to leave. "How terribly rude of you. My lady is speaking to you." Li Gunyang's maid couldn't help speaking up in protest upon seeing this. "Misunderstanding, all a misunderstanding. Has Miss Lee eaten yet?" Brother Ju hurriedly smoothed things over, wearing an awkward smile as he tried to ease the tense atmosphere. I walked ahead with my master, and I seemed to hear her still persistently asking Brother Ju about my master. A sense of crisis suddenly arose in my heart. Here I was, so close yet unable to confess my feelings, and now someone else was openly coveting what I desired. But then again, considering how outstanding my master was, it was only natural for others to admire her, since even a noble young lady dares to express her feelings openly. What do I have to fear? I must find an opportunity to confess my true feelings. After returning to the Ju residence, I immediately retreated to my room. Curling up on the bed, my mind was in complete turmoil. One moment thinking about the events at the tavern during the day, the next moment tangled up in my own messy emotions. Before I knew it, I had drifted into a hazy sleep. When I woke up, it was pitch black outside. The moment I stepped out of my room, I heard a series of crackling sounds from a fight. My heart tightened suddenly, and without a second thought, I ran toward the source of the noise. When I reached the spot, I saw a group of black-clad assassins surrounding my master, launching fierce attacks. These killers came with overwhelming force, their moves swift and ruthless. Seeing my master trapped in their midst, my heart leaped into my throat. Though my master possessed extraordinary martial skills, the assassins had strength in numbers. What if something were to happen to him? I gritted my teeth and hardened my heart. Deciding I couldn't worry about anything else anymore, taking a deep breath, I mustered all my courage and charged forward. I kept psyching myself up internally. Stay calm, don't panic no matter what. I absolutely had to remain composed and not lose my head. Though my martial arts skills were limited, I couldn't afford to hold my master back. Amidst this fierce battle, I gradually began to find my rhythm, seizing the moment. I dodged the assassin's strike and countered with a punch straight to his chest. I wonder if Master saw how skilled I've become. Just as my focus wavered, another assassin swiftly swung his sword and stabbed me in the back. Oh my God, it hurts. It really hurts. Like being burned by fire, a piercing pain. I can feel beads of sweat gradually forming on my forehead. At that moment, my master's eyes turned sharp, as if he had become a different person, leaving traces of sword shadows in his wake. In an instant, sword shadows filled the air as a powerful sword aura swept toward the assassins. The killers were instantly thrown into disarray. Ignoring the pain, I mustered all my strength and joined my master in launching the final counterattack. At last, the final assassin collapsed with a thud. I let out a long sigh of relief, my taut nerves finally easing slightly. But the moment I turned and saw my master, the long-suppressed emotions in my heart instantly overflowed. I threw myself into his arms, tears streaming down my face. Master, I was so scared, I thought I was going to die. My master gently lifted me from his embrace. You're hurt, let's go back and tend to your wounds. My heart swelled with warmth, and in a sudden rush of courage, I don't know where it came from, I raised my tear-filled eyes to him. Master, in this life-and-death moment, I realized clearly that my feelings for you have long surpassed those of an ordinary disciple. I like you, the way a woman likes a man. With that said, I looked at him eagerly, my heart full of anticipation. Yet, all I saw was his expression instantly turning stern. He pushed me away abruptly, his voice turning icy. Don't ever speak such nonsense again. I was stunned, standing there dumbfounded, all the warmth in my heart vanishing in an instant. After all these days spent together morning and night, don't you have any other feelings for me? The master frowned and turned his back to me. Don't bring this up again. In my eyes, you're just my disciple, nothing more. Watching his indifferent figure walk away, my heart ached with pain. I returned to my room in a daze, constantly asking myself, what should I do? Just give up like this? I can't accept it. Just as I was thinking, knock knock knock. Someone rapped at the door. Who? It's me, came Sister Ju's voice. I got up to open the door and saw Sister Ju holding a tray of food and medicine. Miss Jiang, you must be hungry. She said, the master asked me to tell you, miss, to rest well tonight. Tomorrow you'll be setting off back to Izhou. Back to Izhou. I was completely baffled. Was he sending me back just because I confessed my feelings? Yes, the master just went out. He said we'd depart first thing tomorrow morning and specifically told me to inform you, and also to apply your medicine. Aunt Ju applied medicine to my wound, saying it was fortunate the cut wasn't deep. But I was in pain, both physically and emotionally. I endured the pain without uttering a sound, my mind in complete turmoil. I somewhat regretted my impulsive actions. They say if a confession fails, even friendship becomes impossible. But in my case, failing the confession might mean losing even the master-disciple relationship. The next day, I jolted awake from the dream, my entire body drenched in sweat. Last night, fragments of past and present lives intertwined chaotically in my mind. The figure of my master still lingers in my dreams. As I opened the door, I unexpectedly saw my master standing tall and straight in the courtyard. A faint morning light enveloped him, outlining a hazy glow, as if he were an immortal descending from heaven, or perhaps an illusory dream, making it all seem unreal. Hearing my movement, he turned and fixed his gaze upon me. He slightly furrowed his brows, a flicker of concern flashing in his eyes. Is the injury serious? You look so pale. I froze momentarily, feeling a ripple of emotion stir within me. I shook my head gently. No, I just didn't sleep well. All right. You can rest in the carriage later. His voice remained calm as ever. Aren't we riding horses anymore? He responded curtly. My mood instantly lifted. He must have switched to a carriage out of concern for me. Perhaps there's still hope between us after all. On the way back to Izhou, I need to think carefully about how to deepen our relationship. Let's go see your third senior brother before we leave. He should be awake by now. Master's words interrupted my train of thought. All right. Just as we reached third senior brother's door, coughing sounds came from inside the room. Master pushed the door open directly and entered first, with me following closely behind. The master walked to third brother's bedside, slightly bending down as he placed his fingers on third brother's wrist pulse. "How are you feeling?" A faint smile appeared on third brother's pale face. "Master, I'm already much better." As he spoke, his gaze shifted toward me. "This must be our newly joined junior sister." "Hello, third brother." I nodded, trying my best to make my voice sound sweet. "Hello. Little junior sister, you're really beautiful." The master and third senior brother discussed the matters of the Evening Glory Pavilion and the recent events in the neighboring city for a while. At last, third senior brother gave a light cough and looked at the master. "Master," he said, "there are some things I'd like to discuss privately with junior sister." The master paused briefly, then glanced at me before standing up and saying, "You two chat first, I'll wait for you outside." As soon as master left, third senior brother's previously weak face instantly broke into a mischievous grin. He stared straight at me and said, "Junior sister, do you harbor romantic feelings for master?" My eyes widened instantly, my face filled with astonishment. How on earth did this guy know? Third brother noticed my confusion and proudly lifted his chin. "I've traveled far and wide, met all sorts of people. The affection in your eyes, I can see it at a glance." I felt a bit embarrassed by his words and lowered my head slightly. "But master has already rejected me. Today he even plans to send me back to Ijo. I'm afraid he'll deliberately avoid me from now on." Third senior brother waved his hand lightly and said nonchalantly, "Junior sister, you don't understand. The fact that master took you as his disciple was something none of us expected. You mustn't give up. Though master may seem cold on the outside, he's warm at heart. As long as you're thick-skinned and persistent, you might just win him over." Really? I looked at third senior brother with some suspicion. Never heard that it's easier for a woman to chase a man, just like piercing through a thin veil, or that a good man fears a persistent woman. It's not that virtuous women fear persistent suitors. I widened my eyes and corrected him. "These details don't matter. What matters is that our master, an old tree like him, has never had young girls around. If he keeps you by his side, he must feel something for you." Watching his mouth open and close, I really suspect he might be pulling my leg. But then again, whether he's telling the truth or not, there's no better option at hand right now. Before departure, third senior brother came rushing over, saying he wanted to see us off. As he approached me, he mysteriously produced a brocade pouch and handed it to me. "Junior sister," he said, "if you're truly at your wit's end, open this pouch. Inside is senior brother's ultimate move for you." Third senior brother is such a good person. With heartfelt gratitude, I accepted the brocade pouch and looked at third senior brother, raising my hand to pat his shoulder. I vowed earnestly, "Third senior brother, if I succeed in rising to power and become your Shenyang, I promise to treat you well in the future, ensuring your status surpasses that of both first and second senior brothers." Third senior brother couldn't help but chuckle at this. "Well then, I'll be waiting eagerly. You'd better work hard, junior sister." Watching the carriage depart, Juzichin shuddered involuntarily. He hurried back inside to pack his belongings and set off for the borderlands. The atmosphere inside the jolting carriage was icy cold, unable to suppress the unease in my heart. I finally gathered my courage and spoke. "Master, are you planning to send me back to the Jiang family?" My master didn't even lift his eyelids. "But I don't want to go back." I stared at him with pleading eyes. "You must go back." My eyes instantly welled up. "Master, you don't understand. I'm just a concubine's daughter. My own mother despises me because I'm not a son. My father only has eyes for my elder brother. I'm like a weed by the roadside. The servants in the manor, they're all fair-weather friends, daring to bully me. From childhood until now, not a single person has ever truly cared for me or treated me with sincerity. It wasn't until I met you, master, and my senior brothers, that I finally felt like I had a home in my heart. Master, I beg you, don't abandon me." As I spoke, it felt like there was truly immense grievance in my heart, tears streaming uncontrollably. I couldn't even tell whether I was acting or genuinely pouring out my emotions. "Master, don't leave me behind, please." My voice choked with sobs as tears slid down my cheeks beyond my control. A strange glint flashed through Xian Anqing's eyes as something quietly took root in his heart. He remained silent for a moment before speaking slowly. "I just have some matters to attend to, and it's inconvenient to bring you along. Go home and stay for a while." once everything is settled, I'll come fetch you back to Clawfang Mountain." His tone carried a hint of patience as he looked at me. "Where are you going? Is it dangerous? Can't you take me with you?" Master looked at me and shook his head gently. Then, he raised his hand and gently wiped away the lingering tears on my face. My heart instantly felt as if it had been set ablaze, pounding wildly, as if possessed. I grabbed his outstretched hand and pressed it tightly against my chest. "Master, can you feel it? It's as if I'm ill, my heart is beating unusually fast." The master recoiled as if burned by fire, abruptly withdrawing his hand and tossing out a rebuke. "Nonsense." He then hurriedly exited the carriage to sit beside the coachman. Watching his somewhat flustered retreat, my heart blossomed with joy. His ears had turned red. Who would have thought this future high and mighty regent could be so innocent, so easily flustered? Third senior brother was right. As long as I'm thick-skinned enough, I'll definitely succeed in climbing the ranks. But before my joy could settle, over the next few days, he grew even colder toward me. During the day, he always rode up front with the coachman, leaving me no chance to be alone with him. At night, when we rested at inns, he would extinguish the lamp and go to bed early, with just one day's journey left to Ijo. I suddenly remembered the brocade pouch third senior brother had given me. I quickly opened it to find a note and a small paper packet inside. Unfolding the note, I read, "Lovesickness pill. Once afflicted by this poison, the victim will feel as if scorched by raging flames. Relief can only be obtained either through intimate relations or by soaking in ice water for 2 hours. I nearly threw the items away. Damn it, is third senior brother trying to screw me over? Asking me to drug someone, is this something a real senior brother would do? However, it seems, it's not impossible to give it a try. But who should this medicine be given to, myself, or my master? If my master were drugged, would I force myself upon him? Is it really me, making my master sacrifice himself to be my antidote? My heart is tangled like a mess of threads, utterly conflicted. Just then, I heard my master's voice. "We've reached the inn, rest for the night, and we can hurry to Ijo tomorrow." "All right." "All right," I absent-mindedly replied, quickly lifting the carriage curtain to step out. Yet my mind still pondered, who should be the one to take this medicine? In my room, clutching that packet of lovesick pills tightly, I hesitated again and again before finally deciding to take the risk. With trembling hands, I poured the powder into the tea, watching the steam rise in curling wisps as my heart grew increasingly tense. Nervousness always makes me thirsty. I subconsciously licked my lips after drinking. Oh no, did I grab the wrong teacup? It really wasn't intentional. Moments later, a scorching sensation rapidly spread through my body. I felt unbearably feverish all over, my face burning hot. My heart felt like it was being frantically clawed at by countless cats. Driven by the potency of the medicine, I lost all reason and restraint, my mind consumed by a single thought, to find him. When I reached my master's door and raised my hand to knock, my fingers trembled uncontrollably. The moment the door opened, I lunged forward with startling speed, wrapping my arms around his waist before pressing my lips precisely against his beautiful, thin ones. At that moment, I still retained a sliver of clarity, but the drug's influence whispered like a demon, emboldening me further, stoking the flames of desire until they burned unbearably bright, cool, soft, so comfortable. I couldn't help but let out a soft moan. Just as I was lost in this madness, Master suddenly pushed me away with force, caught off guard. I staggered backward and fell heavily to the ground. A sharp pain shot through my buttocks and back, jolting me awake with its intensity. Then came Master's furious rebuke. "How could you be so shameless?" His words struck me like a resounding slap across the face. Struggling to my feet, I bolted out the door without a second thought. I remember there was a small bridge not far outside this inn, beneath which flowed a narrow stream. I quickly ran to the bridge and, without hesitation, leaped into the river. The icy water instantly enveloped me, its bone-chilling cold shocking me fully awake. I swam beneath the bridge, leaning against the pier as my body trembled uncontrollably, my heart relentlessly asking, how could I have been so shameless? I suddenly miss my brother a little. It's all his fault, and mine too. Just as I was secretly shedding tears in sorrow, I looked up and unexpectedly saw my master standing before me. At that moment, My heart was a whirlwind of emotions: resentment, shame, joy, bitterness. A tangled mess of feelings choked me, leaving me speechless. I realized then that I was hopelessly, irrevocably in love with this man. "Are you okay?" His voice came softly, instantly breaking my composure as tears welled up in my eyes. "Master, I'm sorry." He swam to my side and gently lifted me. "We'll talk when we get back." With a display of qigong, he leaped ashore in just a few bounds, back in the room. The medicinal heat surged through me again. I bit my lower lip hard, struggling to restrain it. My master reached out and took my pulse. A moment later, he pulled a porcelain bottle from his robe, poured out a pill, and fed it to me. "How did you get poisoned?" His voice had returned to its usual coldness. I dared not speak. I was conflicted, wondering whether or not to expose third senior brother. But it was me who took the medicine, so I could only bite my lip, not daring to speak. "Get some rest early." Seeing me like this, my master sighed helplessly. "Master." Gathering my courage, I quickly grabbed his hand and timidly said, "I'm sorry." Master's hand trembled slightly before he swiftly pulled it back. After a long silence, he finally spoke. "Let it be." That night, I lay in bed, tossing and turning, unable to sleep. The next day, when I appeared with heavy dark circles under my eyes, I saw that my master also had the same dark circles. His deep eyes faintly revealed a trace of weariness and complex emotions. In our brief exchange of glances, we both saw that flicker of awkwardness in each other's eyes. Returning to the Jiang residence, the servants still treated me with cold indifference, barely acknowledging my presence. I didn't care either way and led my master inside. When my elder brother arrived, his gaze fell upon my master, and without hesitation, he dropped to his knees. Master nodded at my brother. "What's going on?" "You two know each other." Filled with confusion, I fixed my gaze intently on my brother. In private, my brother revealed the whole truth. It turned out that the dream he had mentioned earlier wasn't a dream at all. He had been reborn. Those were his experiences from his previous life. After his rebirth, his elder brother came bearing sincerity and determination. Through countless hardships, he sought out Xie Nancheng and resolutely pledged allegiance under his banner. Little did anyone know, Xie Nancheng was actually the sole bloodline of the late emperor. Having been named crown prince the moment he was born, fate played a cruel trick. The late emperor passed away in his prime, and his younger brother, the virtuous prince, usurped the throne. Not only that, he sought to eliminate Xie Nancheng to eradicate any future threat. Fortunately, the Grand Tutor remained fiercely loyal, risking his life to save the young Xie Nancheng and helping him escape the palace, sparing him from harm. As for the so-called younger sister, she was in fact the Grand Tutor's own daughter. After the palace coup, the Grand Tutor was tragically murdered by treacherous individuals, and his only daughter went missing, with memories from his past life. My elder brother searched everywhere and found irrefutable evidence and witnesses proving the virtuous prince's usurpation. Using this as leverage, he early on pledged allegiance to Xie Nancheng's faction, solely to prevent the Jiang family from repeating the tragedy of their previous life, because in that past life, our father became entangled in the affair, leading to the entire Jiang family being condemned. My brother also revealed that in our previous lives, we siblings never recognized each other, and in this lifetime, my appearance became a variable. Which is why he racked his brains to send me to Xie Nancheng's side and pushed me to get close to him. As for why my master readily agreed to take me as his disciple, it was all because my brother had already pleaded with Xie Nancheng before I did. Hearing all this, I froze. In this grand play of fate and schemes, I could only feel like a ridiculous clown. The story of my brother being gravely ill and searching for medicine, what a complete joke. Looking back now, those self-righteous little schemes and tricks of mine probably appeared as childish games in my master's eyes. I wasn't angry, just utterly embarrassed. My master wasn't deceiving me either. He truly bore heavy responsibilities now and couldn't take me along as he sought to reclaim the imperial power that rightfully belonged to him. Perhaps due to my brother's interference and instigation, the original timeline for seizing power had been moved up so dramatically. The current emperor seems to have noticed something as well: the incidents at General Pei's residence, the Zhu family's misfortune, and the assassination attempt in the neighboring city all point to the emperor himself as the mastermind behind them. The Jew family was not merely a merchant household on the surface. The underground forces they were involved with, in collaboration with my master, had successfully uprooted the secret assassin organization cultivated by the emperor. Dealing a heavy blow to his power, the eldest senior brother's journey to the border was also a mission of great importance to save the poisoned General Pei, help him detoxify, and reclaim military authority to ensure the border's safety. While I was still overwhelmed by the sheer volume of shocking information, my brother came to tell me that he and Xianancheng were about to leave and asked if I wanted to see them off, though my brother was certain in his heart that our master would succeed. The variables in the equation remained unpredictable. Take me, for instance. I was one such variable. In my brother's past life, we never recognized each other. Without another word, I turned on my heel and chased after him.
Influence. Master smiled and said my brother was a capable man, but in my heart, I felt that his past achievements were merely due to the convenience of being a reborn person. While my senior brothers and my elder brother were still briefing Master on court affairs, third senior brother pulled me aside and whispered, "Did you succeed in ascending?" I shook my head helplessly. He immediately stomped his foot in anger, cursing me for being useless. As he spoke, he began to ponder methods to help me, all to himself. This time, I firmly and sternly refused him, and earnestly lectured him. "Third senior brother, your thoughts should be on the right path. Do not dwell on these crooked ways anymore." Looking at third senior brother's indignant expression, I couldn't help but laugh. In my current state, I really did seem to have developed some airs of a master's wife. Side story, Xianancheng. I've lived in seclusion on Clawfang Mountain for 10 years now. The world only knows a reclusive master lives here, unaware that I hold the dragon-patterned jade pendant bestowed by the late emperor, and ignorant of my blood-soaked vendetta. Everything was going according to plan when Jiang Chengfeng knelt before me, saying he wanted to exchange his achievements for a promise. That day, he urgently sought me out. "Sir, my sister is the most important person in my life. If I can ensure her safety, I, Jiang, am willing to go through fire and water, and follow you to my death." I had witnessed countless power plays and transactions, but it was the first time I saw such pure pleading in someone's eyes. And so, I nodded. When I first met Jiang Iran, she was wearing a faded plain dress, answering timidly, yet her eyes held a cunning that didn't match her timidity. I agreed to her request, thinking it was just about taking on another disciple, but I never expected this girl's mind wasn't set on martial arts training at all. Facing her little tricks, I saw through them clearly, dismissing them as mere childish mischief, until that heavy rain, when I was in the mountain pavilion and saw from afar a slender figure running towards me under an oil paper umbrella. "Master, put this on quickly." Her hands trembled slightly as she handed me the cloak. Raindrops trailed down her hair and fell onto my hand. For a moment, I felt dazed. Reaching out to brush aside the wet strands clinging to her forehead, she stiffened, and when she looked up at me, the light in her eyes seemed to hold scattered stars. "Thank you, Master." Her voice was soft as a feather brushing against the heart. I quickly withdrew my hand, feeling an inexplicable stir in my chest the moment my fingers touched her skin. These were not emotions I should be having, I reminded myself. "Xianancheng, you still have unfinished business." The assassination attempt in Lincheng came suddenly, when she threw herself into my arms and said with a sob, "Master, I like you." I wasn't surprised. These past days, the girl's gaze had been too direct. She couldn't hide her feelings. Without a second thought, I rejected her outright. How could I dare to think of romance when my great mission of revenge remains unfinished? But seeing the light in her eyes dim little by little, for the first time, I actually wanted to run away. Later, when she threw herself into my arms, her whole body burning hot, and pressed her feverish lips against mine, I admit I panicked. The sensation was astonishingly soft, like snow melting in early spring. So tender it made my heart ache. I didn't reject it, in fact. I even longed for it, yet the words that escaped my lips were the cruelest. "Shameless." She staggered back and fell to the ground, and my heart twisted with unbearable pain. Recalling how her body had been unusually hot when she approached me earlier, her face flushed abnormally. A trace of doubt and regret welled up in my heart, silently blaming myself for acting too impulsively. Thinking this, I chased after her without hesitation, until I saw her leap into the icy river. Inexplicably, a strange feeling surged within me, one I had never experienced before. Without a moment's hesitation, I followed her into the river. When I found her hiding behind the bridge pier, She was trembling with her knees hugged to her chest, like an abandoned kitten. I took off my outer robe and wrapped it around her, realizing for the first time that no matter how strong my thirst for revenge was, it couldn't mask the panic in my heart at this moment. "I'm sorry," she mumbled against my chest, her voice hoarse. Holding her tight in my arms, my throat tightened. Even the hardest heart can be pierced by gentle words. The night I sent her back to the Jiang residence, I stood beneath her window for a long time. Moonlight fell upon the crepe myrtle tree outside her window, casting mottled shadows on the ground. I knew I couldn't offer her stability now, better to let her return to her former life, where she'd at least be safe for a while. But when I learned she'd been kidnapped, I finally understood some bonds, once formed, can never be undone. I'd even steeled myself for mutual destruction, yet upon entering the city, I spotted red paper pasted outside a tavern window. Crooked yellow stars were drawn on it, alongside two strange characters and Quan. Jiang Chengfeng suddenly laughed when he saw it, though tears glistened in his eyes. My little sister, still so clever. In that moment, everything became clear to me. What is the meaning of grand ambitions and great plans if there's no one you care about to share them with? On the day I reclaimed the imperial power, I stood atop the palace walls watching the sunrise, while the crowd around me knelt and pleaded, "Your Highness, the realm needs you." I shook my head and turned toward the palace gates. I promised someone I'd take her back to Clawfang Mountain. After returning to the mountain villa, Jiangiran seemed like a completely different person. She no longer hovered around me, no longer found excuses to get close, just quietly practiced swordplay and read books every day. Watching her profile as she read beneath the peach blossom tree, I tasted the bittersweet flavor of fear of loss for the first time, until I overheard her conversation with Zichen. "Third senior brother, stop giving bad advice." Her voice carried determination. "Silly junior sister." Zhu Zichen seemed exasperated. "Didn't you see the way Master looked at you?" The affection in his eyes was practically overflowing. I leaned against the corridor pillar, listening to her silence for a long time, thinking that after all these events, her feelings for me had long faded. An inexplicable dull ache spread through my heart. Who knew that the next second, I would hear her soft voice say, "Don't worry, senior brother, I won't give up. Don't you think I look a bit like a master's wife now? What about me?" I tugged at his sleeve and pointed at myself. "Grab Miso." This girl's intentions were even more straightforward than I had imagined. I couldn't help but let out a small laugh, startling both of them into turning around simultaneously. Jiangiran's face instantly flushed crimson, and the book in her hand dropped to the floor with a thud. I slowly walked over, bent down to pick up the book. The words "How to Capture a Man's Heart" particularly prominent on its cover. "Don't read this book anymore." I looked at her flustered expression as she dared not raise her head, softening my voice. "This heart has long been yours." Her head jerked up instantly, her eyes lighting up with a long-lost sparkle, as if filled with stars. The tips of her ears tinged faintly red. "By the way," I turned to Zhu Zichen, who was stifling laughter beside us. "Tomorrow, go tell Yun Mo and Pei Kai to change how they address us." "Change? Change to what?" Jiangiran blurted out before Zhu Zichen could respond. I couldn't help but ruffle her hair. "Naturally, it's time to change from calling you junior sister to Shenyang, master's wife." Zhu Zichen let out an excited whoop. "Beside us? No need to wait until tomorrow. I'm going to tell the senior brothers right now. The iron tree has finally blossomed." With only the two of us left in the courtyard, she looked up at me, suddenly stood on tiptoe, and quickly planted a kiss on my cheek before turning to run away. I reached out and pulled her into my embrace, resting my nose against the top of her head, my voice laced with amusement. "Running away? The master hasn't given his Shenyang a return gift yet." Her body stiffened, and just as she was about to look up to say something, I lowered my head and kissed her. The moment our lips touched, she still carried a trace of girlish shyness. Only after a moment did she tentatively raise her hands to lightly encircle my waist. I deepened the kiss. Feeling her gradually warming body temperature, the girl in my arms began to breathe unevenly, and only then did I reluctantly let her go. She pressed her forehead against my chest, panting. In the distance, the boisterous voices of Zhu Zichen and Pei Kai could be heard. No doubt these two disciples were eavesdropping. Jiangiran hastily hid behind me, burying her face in my robes, only her flushed earlobes peeking out. I raised my voice toward the courtyard, still not scramming off to train. "Want to be punished?" Footsteps hurried away in haste, likely running off into the distance. The figure nestled in my arms let out a soft laugh, lifting her head with eyes brighter than stars. "Nan Cheng." That call landed right on my heart, stirring a tenderness within my chest I'd never known before. I lowered my head and kissed her lips again, this time, With the certainty of all our days to come, Clawtooth Mountain had never been so gentle before. The end.